Hi, it's Lucy Edson here doing a video for the next step. This month we're focusing on back to the kitchen, and we just want you to pull things from the kitchen, obviously. And I'm working with a tea towel, fruit, some netting from a bag, and putting together a collage piece, mixed media fabric piece that you could put in your kitchen. So let's get started. This is just a sample I'm using to show what I'm making. Obviously, I couldn't shoot the video as I was working on the whole project, so I'm putting it together just like a little sample to show you how I've done it. To start with, I've taken part of a kitchen towel. This is just a towel I had from the kitchen, and a piece of cotton batting, and a piece of cardstock. What I'm going to do is base these with glue, and then take them to the machine and stitch them together. So the glue I love to use for anything with fabric is Fabric Tack, which is by Beacon Adhesives. I use this basically for all of my scrapbooking also. I love how it doesn't warp the paper and you get a permanent bond. To do the glue basting, I'm going to just start with my cardstock on the bottom and do just a quick layer of glue. Then layer the batting over that. Then another quick bit of glue. This is essentially the same as you would do a quilt sandwich, except I have cardstock as my base to stabilize everything a little more. Now, since this towel has a stripe on the large sample, I really had to make sure I had it really tight, really straight, and make sure you smooth it out really smoothly and it's nice and taut, because when you go to the machine to stitch this, you'll want everything to be as smooth as possible. So I'm going to let this set up for a few minutes and let the glue dry, and then I will take this to the machine and stitch it. Okay? Alright, we're going to stop now and we'll come back with the next part. Thanks. Hi, I'm back now with the next step to quilting your little sandwich with the fabric and batting and backing. Remember, I've got my layer of cardstock, batting, and the tea towel on top. I have my machine set for heavyweight stitching, and the stitch length is about 3.5 stitches per inch. I have just my normal foot on. If you have a walking foot on your machine, that would be great. It would help feed everything through smoothly, but it's certainly fine to do without a walking foot. I'm going to do mine without that. I'm just going to drop my foot, and I'm going to just stitch through and make some channels through this piece. So I'm going to drop my foot down and just stitch down the stripe in the fabric. One thing about the fabric glue that I used is that you can sew through it. I did wait long enough for it to set up where it wasn't just liquid glue. The only other thing I would suggest is just stitch slowly. Make sure that the fabric doesn't bunch up in front of your needle. Also, your feed dogs aren't going to have much to grab whenever you're stitching onto paper, so just make sure you're keeping that in mind and allowing the machine to work through the fabric. So here's one layer with a channel stitched in. In my sample, which I'll show you in a moment, I've stitched multiple layers, and I've also changed the thread colors and done some decorative stitching. So essentially, I'm just creating a background with this. And then I'm going to take it, and after I finished all the stitching, I'll square it up using a rotary cutter. You could also use scissors. Just make sure that you make it a square. My piece ended up being about 11.5 inches square. So I'm going to continue doing a little more stitching on this, and then I'm going to take it and show you the next step. Hi, I just wanted to give you, this is my finished sample. I've completed my stitching. I've added some variegated thread, done some decorative stitching with the machine. Now, if you don't have decorative stitches on your machine, you could just layer some zigzag and straight stitching, or you could, if you know how to do free motion stitching, you could do that also. In case anyone didn't understand what I meant by squaring up a piece, I'm going to use the straight lines on my fabric to cut. You could do this with your scissors, or you could do it with a rotary cutter. Basically, I'm just going to cut along one line to get a straight line to square up from. And I have a ruler that I use for this. It's from my quilting times, and it's a squared ruler to help you square up your projects. And I would just put it along this line, and I'm going to use my rotary cutter and just square it up. If you don't have that, you certainly could just mark it with a pencil and then use your scissors to cut it. So then I'm just going to turn, and each time I'm just going to make sure that I have it square and lined up. Just so you have a good end finished result. After I finish squaring it up, I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine and I'm going to zigzag stitch around the edges a couple of times to give me kind of a border and to kind of seal the edges to keep them from fraying out. You could also do a binding on this if you wanted. However, I'm going to add some paint to the edge to finish mine off. So now here's my piece ready to go and be zigzag stitched around the edges, and then I'm going to finish that, and then in our second video I'm going to show how to do some fruit stamping and how to finish off your project. Okay, thanks.